I told myself it was nothing. He was just dropping off my keys. The ones I left in his car last night after the office happy hour. The one where we definitely lingered too long in that dim parking lot, saying goodbye like neither of us really wanted to. So now here we were. The hallway outside my apartment was quiet, humming faintly with the flicker of the overhead light. I could hear the soft clink of my keys in his palm. I opened the door halfway. "Hey," I said, softer than I meant to. He smiled, not the polite one, the other one. The one he gave me when no one else was watching. He held out the keys. But instead of taking them, I stepped back. Just one small step. "Come in," I said. He hesitated. Just enough to make it feel dangerous. And I don't know why I did it, but as soon as he stepped inside I turned, and my fingers found the lock behind us. That soft click was louder than it should have been. He noticed. He turned to look at me, still standing a step away from the door. Not leaving. Not speaking. I should have said something casual. Played it off. But I didn't. I just met his eyes. And held them. We both knew I just changed something. And neither of us moved. I heard the sound of the lock again in my head, over and over. It echoed like a decision I couldn't take back. Even though I still could. I could unlock the door. I could hand him the keys. I could laugh it off, say sorry I meant to. But I didn't. I stood there barefoot on the cold floor. Every inch of my skin aware of how close he was. And how far. He stayed by the door. Like he was giving me time to explain or to undo it. I didn't mean to. I started. That was a lie. I did mean to. He tilted his head. Didn't mean to what? My mouth went dry. He knew. He knew I had meant it, and he was giving me a chance to take it back. And something in me refused. "I didn't want you to leave yet," I said. It was the smallest truth I could offer, and it felt enormous. He didn't answer. But I saw it happen, the shift in his shoulders, the way his fingers curled just slightly by his side, like he was holding something back. "You okay?" he asked, but it wasn't casual. It was careful. Gentle. I nodded. Too quickly. And then silence fell again. Not empty but heavy. Dense with all the things neither of us dared say. The space between us wasn't far. 5, maybe 6 steps. But it felt like it would burn me alive to cross it. He looked at me the way you look at something you're trying not to touch, like it might pull you in if you weren't careful. And I could feel it. The way his presence shifted the air in the room. Like gravity was tilting toward him. He didn't come closer. Not yet. But he didn't move toward the door either. Instead, he leaned slightly against the wall. Eyes still on me, like he was giving me space while daring me to close it. And God, I wanted to. My heart was thudding in my chest like it was trying to speak for me. Every second stretched, every breath a little louder, a little warmer. "We shouldn't," I whispered. I wasn't even sure what I meant. Maybe everything. "I know," he said. But he didn't sound convinced. I looked at him, really looked. The quiet strength in his shoulders, the way his shirt still carried the faintest scent of his cologne. That clean, steady smell that made my stomach twist. This wasn't a crush. It wasn't something silly or passing. It was deep, uncomfortable, magnetic. And months of it. Stolen glances at the office, inside jokes that lingered too long, that one almost touch when he reached behind me for a folder, were now humming beneath my skin like static. "Why'd you really come back?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. And when he finally spoke, it wasn't what I expected. Because if I didn't, I knew I'd regret it all night. His voice was low, honest. And suddenly my breath caught. Because that was it. That was the line neither of us had been willing to cross. Until now. I took one step toward him. Just one. Enough to feel the tension coil tighter. Enough to watch his jaw clench, his hands flex slightly at his sides. Like his body was already betraying whatever boundary he thought he could hold. He didn't touch me. Didn't move. But his eyes dropped to my mouth. And every part of me caught fire. I stood there, heart pounding, one step from safety, one from surrender. His eyes didn't leave mine. I could see it, the question he wasn't asking out loud. Maybe he didn't have to. Maybe my body was already answering. And still we didn't move. Not until I did. It wasn't a kiss. It was something smaller. More dangerous. I reached for his hand. Just the edge of it. my fingertips brushing his palm like I was testing the temperature of something I shouldn't touch. He didn't pull away. His fingers curled slowly, wrapping around mine. And I felt it, the tremble. Not in his hand but in me. Like that small connection was all it took to make everything inside me unravel. "I've thought about this," I said, barely audible. He closed his eyes just for a second, like hearing that cost him something. "Don't say that unless you mean it." "I do." And it felt like the truth of it cracked the air open between us. He stepped in finally, quietly. His other hand moved to my waist, not claiming, just there. Like he was asking with touch instead of words. And I couldn't breathe. Or maybe I was breathing too much. Fast. Shallow. Like my body didn't know whether to run or collapse into him. He didn't kiss me. He waited. So close I could feel the warmth of his breath near my cheek. My whole body leaned in without thinking, like it was chasing something it already knew. And when his forehead touched mine, gently, reverently, I felt a sound rise in my throat that wasn't quite a sigh. It was surrender. It's strange how quiet the world becomes when someone finally touches you the way you've been aching to be touched. His hands didn't move fast. They moved like he was memorizing. One at my back, one sliding up my arm. Slow enough to feel every inch of skin wake up beneath him. I hadn't realized how cold I'd been until his warmth touched me. I tilted my head just slightly, and that was all it took. The moment his lips brushed my cheek, barely there, like he wasn't sure if he had permission. He did. God, he did. My fingers found his chest, instinctively anchoring there. I could feel his heart thudding beneath my hand like mine. Unsure, breathless, needing. When his mouth finally met mine, it wasn't hungry. It was careful, tender. But everything in me responded like I'd been starved. The kiss deepened, not with urgency but with gravity. Like we were being pulled into something older than either of us, something we'd both been circling for far too long. He tasted like uncertainty and want. Like restraint unraveling. When I gasped softly, he pulled back just enough to look at me. Like he needed to see if I was okay. This was still what I wanted. And the way I looked at him must have answered everything. Because in the next breath, he pressed his forehead to mine again and whispered, "You don't know what you're doing to me." But I did. Because I could feel it in every part of him. The tension, the shiver in his hands, the way his breath shook when I touched the side of his neck. And deep inside me something whispered, "This isn't just a moment. This was going to change everything." Time lost its edges. We moved like we were afraid to break the silence between us. Every kiss, every slow brush of fingertips against skin, stitched from months of almosts. Of wanting and not touching. Of late-night texts we pretended were innocent. But nothing about this was innocent anymore. Not the way he held me now, like the space between us had always been a mistake. Not the way I whispered his name into his shoulder, like a secret I'd finally stopped hiding. He laid me back gently like I was something sacred. Not because I was fragile, but because he needed to be careful with what this meant. His breath moved across my collarbone, warm and reverent. My body arched without meaning to, responding before thought could catch up. There were no words between us now. Just sound. Breath. The soft rustle of fabric and the slow collapse of distance. We didn't rush. We didn't need to. Every moment stretched like it was suspended in candlelight. Glowing, golden, held. He kissed the inside of my wrist, my shoulder, the edge of my jaw, each one slower than the last, like he was writing his way into my memory. And when it was done, or maybe just quiet, he stayed. His arm around me, our legs tangled, breath sinking without trying. No one said a word. But in the stillness something settled. Something real.